Skip. This is the classic case of one person that cuts their own nose to spite their face. And you know the narrative that they say about boy bands or boy groups or historical boy bands in history? They just can never stick together because someone's ego outgrows the other, and they always destroy a beautiful thing. This boy band had the potential to be one of the greatest of all time. Skip and Shannon Sharpe. They were my morning newspaper. You know, I constantly look to the opinions of Skip and Shannon to share especially after a big Sunday, right? If it was a comeback win, we wanted their take. If it was something happening in the playoffs, we wanted their take. NBA too. So these guys were the most popular opinions on TV, along with Stephen A. And to be honest, Skip ruined that. And he ruined that so fast that within the same year, this dude is leaving the same network he got Shannon Sharpe fired from. Some of y'all gonna call this karma. Some of y'all gonna say Skip deserves every last minute of it. We'll see what Microphone got to say, man. Hit the like and subscribe button.
They're gonna say he fired. It ain't about that. Just know it wasn't mutual.
Skip Bayless don't like to be challenged. I just realized that he and I couldn't succeed at the same table.
There is no way on earth that I can imagine him walking away.
The day has finally come, and it's happened in a way that none of us would ever expect. We've known for a few weeks now that Skip Bayless is officially leaving Undisputed. We don't necessarily know what the terms were. We didn't know if he got fired or if he quit. We got a bunch of answers to that, but even more so, his final show was very odd. It was nothing.
This combination of personalities on TV was dreadful. I ain't gonna hold you. People naturally don't care about Paul Pierce because Paul Pierce just comes out. Every time he talks, he just sounds like a hater. And he's not even an interesting hater. He just sounds like a hater, bro. I'm talking about one of them nosebleed haters that just hate on greatness. We see it constantly with the way he talks about LeBron James. And although you could say that Skip is the original LeBron hater, Skip had some depth and Skip made it interesting. You know what I mean? But nobody cared about what Little One had to say about sports, and we barely care about what Keyshawn got to say about sports. I'm just going to say what it is. Keyshawn is great at what he does. He's not even horrible. He's just boring. He's just boring. And then Lil Wayne, that's the combination of personalities to replace Shannon?
His final show was very odd. It was nothing like Shannon Sharpe's final show on Undisputed. So we're going to break everything down. Before we get to the content,
I didn't even see the final show.
Final week DJ College Football 25 giveaway for my Instagram followers and my Twitter followers. Link to both of those giveaways.
That's how you know. How many of y'all even watched the final Undisputed with Skip? When Shannon was leaving, we were all tuned in. How many of y'all watched Skip's final episode on Undisputed, bro?
Work.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Skip Bayless has a very complicated legacy whenever it comes to sports journalism. You either absolutely despise him, find him quite humorous, or if you happen to be LeBron James, never acknowledge his existence at all whatsoever. Regardless, Skip Bayless has been in this industry since 1972 when he looked like this.
I feel like I'm the most hated guy in town. Now I can't go back to the morning news for fear of being gunned down by the guards.
And although I never personally formulated my own sports opinions based off of what Skip Bayless was saying on First Take and on Undisputed, I believe that just like any individual that is doing a sports show each and every day that is based around hot takes, there's been times where he's given incredible takes.
What qualifies him? What experience does he have running a football team? You're simply a product of all that philosophy. You've come up under Bill Belichick.
Right. And times where he's given really poor takes.
He's the quarterback of America's team. And you know and I know, I don't have sympathy for him going public with, I got depressed.
There are times where he's pushed a little bit too hard.
I apologize for what we're going to set out to do here today. Last thing we want to try to do is come off as insensitive to what this young man is going through.
And obviously there's been times where he's been so difficult that he pushed away a generational co-host.
Glass is back on.
Can I finish?
You disrespect him. It's just so. You know what? It's beneath your dignity. Okay? I'm going to have at it because I'm going to have at you.
Love him or hate him, there's no question about it. He's a legend in our industry. A lot of people have been making this joke saying that LeBron James's career outlasted Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless has been doing this since 1972. And while I could understand resenting him for creating the modern hot take culture in sports debate shows, you can't.
1972 is crazy, bro. We're in 2024. We're in 2024.
deny the fact that in terms of bringing entertainment value to the television, this man is an absolute legend, creating multiple successful sports debate shows and experiencing a generational run in success on 2 major networks that unfortunately came to a screeching halt last summer. At this point, you guys know what happened last summer. Shannon Sharpe left Undisputed. Undisputed had to take a brief hiatus, and Skip Bayless was left scrambling. I mentioned this on the channel during the time it was happening. To pause a sports debate show, a daily sports debate show, right before NBA free agency is to start is absolute insanity. My evil twin brother, Flight Mike, that guy, uploads like 50 or 60 times a month during the months of June and July, primarily because that's when the NBA is moving the most. So for Undisputed to stop at that period is insanity and truly gives you an idea of how much Skip Bayless was scrambling to find a brand new sports debate partner. Eventually, Skip Bayless settled on Michael Irvin, Rachel Nichols, Paul Pierce, Keyshawn Johnson, and of course, Lil Wayne.
But don't give me that. It's the NFL.
Yeah. I still can't believe he got Lil Wayne to give sports takes. I mean, like, it's awesome. I'm a huge Wheezy fan. But another thing that people don't talk about is the fact that Skip also alienated Jenny Taft. So he no longer had a moderator. So he was left to moderate his own show, and the results were, well...
You don't have time because you guys talk too much, and so I can't. I've run out of time here. I did. Yes, you talk too much.
I personally tried to watch the new Undisputed. I just couldn't. I mean, Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless were like peanut butter and jelly, and although Shannon Sharpe is doing fine on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and of course Shannon Sharpe's main gig isn't First Take anymore, it's his online content, I can't help but feel like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe had way more chemistry than Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. But again, Shannon Sharpe primarily has been focusing on the online content space, and as he should. The man's greatest achievement over the past year in terms of online content had nothing to do with sports. It was his interview with Cat Williams. Shannon Sharpe could have a Michael Strahan-like ascension, and he could become even more dominant than Michael Strahan if he keeps going on the path that he's going. His potential in regards to content and media knows no limits. I truly believe that Shannon Sharpe just wouldn't be able to stay with Skip Bayless on Undisputed, whether Skip Bayless pushed him out or not. But regardless, it's been a tough year for Undisputed in its ratings, and as a result, eventually, after a year of the new Undisputed running, it was leaked to the media that Skip Bayless was going to leave Undisputed. Now, this is where things get really odd, because if you guys remember, Shannon Sharpe's final Undisputed was very emotional. I mean, really, you had Shannon Sharpe crying on camera and telling Skip Bayless this.
You lay your head on that pillow at night. I gave you everything I had.
You did.
So you would wonder if Skip Bayless would have a similar type of show. I mean, this is the man that created the concept of Undisputed. He left First Take, went to Fox, got paid a bag, pointed at Shannon Sharpe saying, I want him as my debate partner, and went on a crazy run for about 8 years. The man created the show, so you would think that the send-off they would have for Skip Bayless would be very similar to Shannon Sharpe's, but it was the exact opposite. As a matter of fact, Skip Bayless's final Undisputed show came and went, and nobody really noticed a thing. It was just like any Undisputed show. If you were just tuning in and didn't have the internet and didn't have social media and didn't find out that this was all going on from your phone, you probably wouldn't have noticed that Skip Bayless was leaving. But upon the show's conclusion, Skip Bayless tweeted out that today was my last show on Undisputed. I'm leaving FS1. I've been planning to pursue other opportunities for several months. I had a great 8-year run.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. I've been planning to pursue other opportunities for several months, so why fire Shannon? Why get rid of Shannon? What was the point of the direction of getting rid of Shannon Sharpe and recreating Undisputed with a brand new cast? Huh? I don't know how long this cast has been together, but I know Shannon probably left Undisputed around December or something like that. It hasn't been a full year yet. So you had plans of leaving less than a year later, but wanted to push Shannon Sharpe out the door and get a brand new cast to replace him? Stop the cap, man.
with a lot of great people at Fox. But now
I was born that day, but not today.
Stay tuned. I love how people react that LeBron James lasting longer in the NBA than Skip Bayless on Undisputed warms my soul. But bro, I don't want to sound like a huge Skip Bayless defender, but bro, Skip Bayless started Undisputed with Shannon Sharpe 3 months after LeBron James won Cleveland its championship. Like, I understand wanting to make this parallel because Skip Bayless has created a career off of roasting LeBron James, but it's just not the same. But you could make an argument that LeBron James in the NBA has lasted longer than Skip Bayless on First Take and Undisputed. But in terms of career length, you can't compare the two. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't compare a professional basketball player to a journalist. You could do journalisms for decades. But that aside, this answers a lot of our questions, and Fox actually gave their response to this as well. One, it's the fact that Skip Bayless said, "I'm leaving FS1." He wasn't fired. Now, whether Fox decided to do this amicably and part ways in a way where Skip Bayless would still look good, or if Skip Bayless went to Fox saying that this isn't working for me, is a different conversation. I wouldn't be shocked if he got fired. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't pick up his contract, and I wouldn't be shocked if he said, "I feel like I could do other things." But at the same time, I think it's pretty strange that Skip Bayless went to his stable job at Fox and said, "You know what? I think I'm going to start pursuing other ventures." You know, as a 72-year-old, it's just a very strange thing to consider. But I guess it's something that we're seeing more and more. I mean, Bill Belichick is the same age as Skip Bayless, and the man literally went from being the head coach of the New England Patriots and the most dominant head coach of the past 2 decades to showing off his personality with the media and dating a girl that is literally a quarter of his age. So if Skip Bayless wants to pursue something else, I'm all for it.
Get it, Bill.
I personally think he should just take off and enjoy himself. But if this keeps him young and if this gets him excited, then who am I to tell him how to live his life? Fox put out this statement on Skip Bayless saying that the Fox Sports family thanks Skip Bayless for his outstanding contributions at FS1. As a founding member of the show Undisputed and known as the godfather of sports debate, Skip has been a cornerstone of our network and a driving force in sports commentary. His passion, insight, and distinctive voice have entertained audiences and captivated sports fans throughout the years. We wish Skip continued success in his future endeavors. I'm not a diehard fan of Skip Bayless, guys, but I understand his legacy and respect some of the stuff that he's done for sports debate. I'm very interested in seeing where he takes his career from here. Skip would also post this picture when he got home, saying, "Ernestine and Hazel surprised me with congratulations balloons when I returned from my last Undisputed. Can't wait for what's next. Here we go." For those of you guys saying that this man was not successful, I mean, just look at his home, man. This guy lives in the hills. Like, there's no way you could look at him and say that he wasn't successful at what he was trying to do. I think it's pretty incredible that he's actually looking to pursue a new venture, and I'm very interested in seeing what it is, because in the case of Shannon Sharpe, you knew what his next venture was. He had Club Shay Shay that was popping off. You knew that he was going to get into online content more, and then he went on and created Nightcap and doubled down on Club Shay Shay while also making appearances on First Take. Brilliant decision for Shannon Sharpe. In the case of Skip Bayless, his podcast isn't really getting that many numbers. Maybe he changes his podcasting format, because my big issue with the way he does podcasts is it's literally just sitting there and watching him read off of a paper. I mean, like, bro, at least get a teleprompter or something, or at least bring on some guests. But at the same time, I don't know if Skip Bayless has a lot of friends from his time in the industry to bring on as guests. He's always struck me as a bit of a lone wolf that found a lot of success that was despised by a lot of his peers. Very interested in seeing what his next move is, but regardless, I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for what Skip Bayless has done for sports debate. But Undisputed is officially over. There's a huge question of what's the future going to look like. After all, this was the morning slot on Fox Sports. So what's Fox Sports' plan in order to replace Skip Bayless?
I almost forgot.
Well,
I almost forgot about the idea of Undisputed without Skip and Shannon. Like, I kind of figured me listening to Skip basically get fired was like me hearing the end of Undisputed. I almost forgot. They're keeping the show.
According to Front Office Sports, FS1 executives believe that First Things First star Nick Wright is the future of the network. But do they really want to take the 39-year-old Wright and on-air partners, Chris Broussard and Kevin Wills, away from their current 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time slot and make them compete head-to-head with rival ESPN powerhouse First Take? Personally, from my research, it seems like First Things First is significantly more respected than First Take. And I have nothing against First Take. I find First Take to be very, very entertaining. but there's actually insightful analysis going on First Things First. It's not necessarily a shouting match. So it's a very bold move, but it's not necessarily the worst plan either, especially for those that want a much more nuanced version of sports debate. Nick Wright is kind of like the inverse of Skip Bayless. He rides LeBron James as much as he can, but he actually provides rationale to his fandom of LeBron James. And I wouldn't say it's the perfect show, but I definitely think it's a higher quality show than Undisputed was in a different way. Now, that's not their only plan. The article continues by saying Bayless, the godfather of sports debate, was chewed up by his former on-air partners, Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe, from 10 a.m. to noon in their head-to-head battle. If I'm Nick Wright, I'm not sticking my ascending program in front of that buzzsaw. It's probably more likely, say my sources, that FS1 takes the promising duo of Emmanuel Acho and Joy Taylor from Speak at 5 p.m. and builds a new morning show around them. They also like Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman, two of Bayless's rotating partners on Undisputed, and could cast them on other shows. So I said this when Skip Bayless announced that Richard Sherman was going to be his debate partner. I really like the potential of Richard Sherman in sports debate shows. I think he's very well spoken and way more intelligent than people give him credit for. But that's not all. FS1 is intrigued by Parkins, the 37-year-old Chicago radio talk show host who recently guest hosted The Herd with Colin Cowherd. He's good friends with Nick Wright going back to their days at Syracuse. Cowherd publicly called Parkins the most talented sports talk radio host out there right now on his podcast. But there's no doubt about one thing. FS1 management is under pressure. It already looks foolish for letting Shannon Sharpe walk last year in favor of Skip Bayless, just as the Pro Football Hall of Famer was ascending in popularity and Bayless was fading. Now, Sharpe's one of the hottest sports media personalities in the country, making an impact on ESPN, and with his Club Shay Shay podcast / YouTube show, Sharpe's also poised to inherit the lead role on First Take if Smith decides to leave for late night TV, politics, or acting. This means Shannon Sharpe will likely be a thorn in his old network's side for years to come.
Oh, shit, bro. What a dominating... That's what you call checkmate. That's what you call checkmate, bro. This is the type of shit that we kind of all strive for. Anybody that's ever been fired from a job that you put sweat, blood, and tears into, you know what I mean? And you've gotten let go over some BS. That's what we want to stick to. We want our next job to not only pay us more, we want them to, you know what I mean, kick them while they're down. Shannon has a potential chance to take over First Take if Stephen A. were to leave, which would put him in direct competition with Undisputed. The same Undisputed without Skip Bayless. The same one being ran by Keyshawn and Lil Wayne. Oh my gosh, bro. Cut off your nose to spite your face. This is what you get.
Honestly, I can't believe they missed on that one. I don't
Crazy.
think it takes a genius to realize that Shannon Sharpe was next up in regards to sports media personalities.
I'll save it for the end.
Decided to stick with Skip Bayless over Shannon Sharpe, to me, is just insane. I mean, a simple look at their podcast numbers would have been all the research you really needed to do in that instance. Now, the article continues to say that FS1 needs to do something this summer to improve its weekday studio lineup in time for the 2024 NFL season. Studio shows are designed to help drive viewers to live game coverage, with Tom Brady joining as Fox's #1 NFL game analyst and the network poised to broadcast the Super Bowl. The sports cable network needs a healthy studio lineup. One of the many puzzling things about Bayless's tenure was how FS1 let him talk nonstop about the NBA when Fox doesn't have the NBA's game rights. But it's also critical that FS1 keeps Cowherd happy. Even when Bayless was around, the former ESPNer was FS1's biggest star and innings eater. But the 60-year-old Cowherd's contract expires early next year, with his owned and operated podcast network The Volume becoming a huge success. Cowherd could split off on his own, a la Bill Simmons and Joe Rogan, or ESPN can make a run for Cowherd for its own weekday lineup, especially if Pat McAfee doesn't last. According to a source, the thing that holds that entire network together is Colin. Just like ESPN's day is dependent on Stephen A., FS1's day is dependent on Colin Cowherd. If you missed our last video, man, it's not looking so good for the LA Chargers. I'll leave a link to that in the end screen, and aside from that, I'm your boy Mike.
What's going on with the internet? Oh my gosh, my internet is acting up. Yo, insane. Fox definitely could have just canceled the entire network, the entire project by firing Shannon Sharpe. And, you know, if you made him, make 2 of them, right? Isn't that the goal? If you made him, make another one. You're realizing that the grass isn't always green on the other side. And Shannon, I congratulate you every single time, bro, because way to stick it to the people that didn't believe in you. You know, they chose, you know, and I was just going to say, it just spoke to just how tone deaf they were. You know, look at social media impact. Every time Shannon Sharpe put out a tweet, people would use his face as GIFs. He was getting the engagement. He was getting the following. Shannon would respond back to fans, whether it was negative or positive. Shannon is engaged in the culture. Where Skip basically just kind of looked at it like a dude speaking from the top of a castle at the little people. So he would say whatever he would say, but he would never even read the comments. You know what I mean? He would never internalize any opinions, or, you know, he wouldn't even pay attention to people. So you get that in return, bro, with your, you know, 2,000 views on your podcast. But Shannon is winning, bro. And I think Undisputed they're probably going to have to go kaput. I'm going to holler at you guys next video. I want to check out this Herbert one. I want to check out this Herbert video, but my internet's acting up, so we'll see. We'll figure it out. Holla at y'all next video. I'm your host, Gabos. This was Skip Bayless Reacts to being fired. All in less than a year after firing Shannon Sharpe. We gone.